Welcome to Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, the podcast that gives you an unfiltered, behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like being a woman in the middle who's over 50 and following her entrepreneurial dreams. Grab a superhero cape, girlfriend, because you deserve one. I'm your host, Master Certified Life Coach and Midlife Mentor, Suzy Rosenstein, and I am excited to inspire you with interviews that feature all of this midlife amazingness. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to the show. We have another really exciting interview ahead of us about inspiring women to be really healthy and active at any age while running a successful online business. There's a lot going on with that. So today you'll be meeting Sue-Anne Hickey, a woman in the middle entrepreneur who's a naturopath who loves to do personalized body type weight loss, Bodytypology. And I can't wait to learn more about that. So welcome to the show, Sue-Anne. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Suzy. I'm so excited to be here.
This is really fun because Sue-Anne and I have met in a couple of coaching groups along the way, and I've never really had a chance to talk to you like this to really understand what you're doing, although we've been in the same circle for a while and we know a little bit about each other. So this is a real treat. I know we're going to have a great conversation about your midlife entrepreneur story. We're going to be talking about your business and what's going really well, and also, what midlife issues might be getting in your way to some extent and may be challenging for you in your life and probably also as a business owner. So let's get started with one of my favorite questions. How old are you? How long have you been an entrepreneur? A little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. And of course, what you do in the world. We must know more. Take it away.
Thanks, Suzy. Yeah, so I'm 62 years old and my entrepreneurial journey started, I guess, back in 1998. I became a yoga teacher at the time. And that was my first kind of start of my healing journey, you could say, because maybe before that I had more choices that were not so healthy and I was trying to find my way. There was a lot of healing to be done from things, childhood things and all of that. And it was my first yoga class that started me on a real path of transformation. I started opening up like a flower. Someone had mentioned that. Becoming less shy, becoming more outgoing, getting into spirituality, meditation, and learning everything I could about healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. That became a passion of mine, which has been over 30 years now. And so I taught yoga for many years, and then I decided that I wanted to take it to another level, and I started training as a naturopath. And that is when I found really was my true calling. I just loved taking it to a whole new level. And one of the first things we started learning about was eating right for your body type. And I was so intrigued. And when my teacher was describing, there's 4 different body types, and she was describing the type that I am, I was like, that's me, that's me, that's me, 100%. I checked all the boxes. And she was telling me, you need way more protein than you're getting from your diet, and you need to make these changes. I was pretty stubborn. I was like, I like eating this way, but I started making the changes and everything changed. I felt so much better. I wasn't hungry all day long. I wasn't snacking all the time. I didn't have that constant up and down energy and energy crash in the afternoon. I used to yawn for half an hour, and I got like stronger. I was riding in a cycling club and I just felt so much better. So I'm like, this is a no-brainer. I am eating this way for the rest of my life. And I have to tell everyone else all about eating right for their body type. So I developed my practice as a naturopath and kind of became known along the way as someone whose expertise was weight loss, because eating right for your body type also works really well for weight loss. And it was a business coach that I had at the time who told me, you're a weight loss expert. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I am. So I became known for that. And I love what I do. I've been doing that ever since. And when COVID hit, I shut down my office and went online into Zoom, which works really well. So that's a little bit about my background.
Now, how were you thinking about yourself? Instead of being a weight loss coach, or weight loss expert, how did you define yourself to yourself?
I guess I was just looking at the naturopath side of helping people heal their ailments naturally, and helping them with little issues like digestive system issues or migraines or hormonal balance and things like that. I knew that the body type plan for me worked. Like, as I said, it was the best thing for me. And I knew it worked well for weight loss. I started seeing results from my clients, but I guess I didn't have as much confidence then as well. So this business coach kind of instilled that confidence in me, which was obviously a huge gift from him.
Wow, that's fascinating. I've experienced that with some of my clients too, like the way you see yourself. You kind of you're in you're in like the weeds. You're not in the forest. You're at like the tree level, putting out fires, dealing with individual clients, but you don't really see all the time the patterns or the higher like broad stroke of what's going on, where your passion really is, the way you're relating to your clients with certain problems, what you're really excited about. And you don't see how it all fits together sometimes. It is such a gift when somebody can just say, oh, I think you're really good at this, or, oh, this is your solid expertise in this area.
Yes, exactly.
So funny. It's
Yeah.
so funny. So this body typology, is that like a common terminology for what it is that you're doing?
No, I wish it was.
Because
I want to make this a household name, but no one has heard about it and no one knows about it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, is it just me? Like,
no.
I'm immersed in this. It's so fascinating. When I saw it on your application, I was like, oh my gosh. And even having overlapped with you for a while in different communities, especially that one community, I never heard you say that word.
Really? Okay.
Isn't
yeah, I need to shout it from the rooftops.
I think you do, because I remember like being a kid when I was completely addicted to magazines in high school, women's magazines, right? Like 17, Glamour, like
right.
I remember being able to identify my body shape. I remember, oh, I'm Apple,
Yes.
I remember with color, there was also this idea where you identified yourself as a summer or a spring or a winter or a fall. Yeah. I remember that kind of typing, but what you're talking about, I think, is fascinating. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it means and maybe what you discovered about yourself? Like, what were you eating that was so off, and what did you eat that was such a life changer?
Right, exactly. So it's a body type diet, which has to do with the glands, and it comes from a few medical doctors back in the day. There was a book written by Dr. Abravanel in 1983, and that it became a little bit more known then, but not very much so. So he distinguished 4 different body types for women and 3 for men, and wrote a book about it and gave the different plans. But it was from 1983. We've come a long way from nutrition from back in the day. So his plan was not that healthy and more kind of a restrictive diet, as we know the restrictive diets go. So one of my naturopath teachers was discovering this and saying, wow, this makes so much sense, but let's totally update this, bring it up to the 2020s and make it a healthy, sustainable way of eating that people can follow for the rest of their lives, not this restrictive diet. So she did that. So how it works is we distinguish your type by your dominant gland. So we have either adrenal, pituitary. For the woman only, there's gonad, which has to do with the ovaries, or thyroid. And there's nothing wrong with one of those glands. Someone might say, oh, I'm hypothyroid, therefore I must be a thyroid type. No, it doesn't work that way. You can have hypothyroid, be any of the types. It's just that one gland is working harder than the others. That's our dominant gland, and the others are trying to catch up. So when you start eating the right foods at the right time for your body type, the dominant gland calms down, the other glands get stronger, and it creates a balance. So you feel better, and your cravings go down, your energy goes up, your appetite is kept in check, you feel more balanced and just better from the inside out. It was really a physical change. So for myself, I was eating a vegetarian diet, having been the yoga teacher. And I believe a plant-based diet is one of the healthiest diets that we can eat on the planet and good for the planet. But for myself, as my teacher explained to me, I wasn't getting enough protein, especially at breakfast. So I was, as I said, very stubborn. There's no way I'm vegetarian. Week after week, I was like, no. And then finally I said, okay, fine. This makes so much sense. I'll try it out. So I started eating more eggs for breakfast. I started adding in more organic chicken and fish. And just by making those changes, I started, as I said, feeling so much more balanced, especially with the breakfast, because having just a bowl of cereal for breakfast, I was hungry an hour later. And then I'd be, eating bread, and then I'd be snacking. And then, as I said, the up and down energy, the hypoglycemia. I had eczema on my hands for 20 years. That completely disappeared. Is that from the body type plan? Maybe not, because I was making a whole lot of other changes, all the things I was learning in my classes. But I see across the board, all my clients tell me it's easy eating this way. I'm not hungry, because they're nourishing their body with the right foods. Their cravings go down, the pounds come off, and they feel more balanced. And so it really works that way.
Wow. And how do you get the baseline? Like, how do you know what gland is the more dominant one?
Right. To figure out someone's body type. Usually I do a consultation with my clients. I have a quiz, but right now it's more to incite interest, but I've almost finished a more elaborate quiz because the people can look at the pictures and say, like you said, like apple shape, sometimes that can be adrenal type. Pear shape can be more gonad type. But figuring out a person's body type, I look at their energy levels. Are they a morning person or a night owl? Their food cravings, their food preferences, even more the ailments that they're most prone to. So that's fascinating, I find. Even their personality. So there's a whole variety of things that I'm looking at. So like the gonad type, which has to do with the ovaries, that's known also as the pear type. They are the motherly caregiving types. They love taking care of others, taking care of their kids or their pets, or they're very devoted to their work, and they have a hard time putting themselves first. So I see that over and over. So the personality can be very pronounced.
That's fascinating. My mind is racing because what you're saying it is really, really interesting. I assumed there would be some kind of a test, but it's really like a lifestyle and personal assessment that you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be nice if there was an easy test.
Yeah. And when you explain this to people, would you say they're interested? Like even the name body typology, I find very interesting, but does it seem to make sense to most people when you're first explaining it?
I think yes. And some body types, when they read the description on my website, they're kind of like I was, oh my gosh, that sounds just like me, for the different aspects and the food cravings, so they can really see themselves right away. Others, there's sometimes a bit of overlap, but you're only one body type.
And would you say that it's more about what to eat rather than what not to eat?
Both. I think both plays a role. Yeah, especially for weight loss. So it's more how to increase the foods that are more beneficial to you, especially the timing of those foods. So say someone is kind of slow in the morning, takes them a while to get going, give me my coffee and I need my space. That can indicate that their metabolism is also slow in the morning. So for them, a small light breakfast could be perfect for them. Medium lunch and dinner would be the main meal of the day, because that's when their metabolism is highest and they're going to burn it off most easily. And so someone else who jumps out of bed full of energy in the morning, they might need a bigger breakfast with more protein. So, one size fits all doesn't work, as I always say.
This really seems like we're just winging it. Most humans, we're just winging it. It seems like a key amount of information that this would really help in so many ways. And I think you're right. We aren't talking like this. And you do need to shout off the rooftops.
I'm trying. I am. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. And clearly you do a lot for people with this insight. Now, you said you also, in your notes, you also do something called RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So when I started, I was thinking this is the best healthy eating plan on the planet, bar none. This is great. But for weight loss, I found that unless we work through the emotional triggers and, things that might have happened in childhood that are still triggering us now for emotional eating or stress eating, then the weight loss might be short term. So I needed to find a modality to help my clients heal that aspect. So when I discovered RTT, which stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy, it's a way to do that. It's by a woman from the UK called Marissa Peer, who created this whole modality of helping people kind of get into a more relaxed state so we can go back and see like what was going on, why am I still like reaching for food when I'm stressed, or why am I stuck in these patterns or habits over and over, no matter what I do. So it's a really powerful way of helping the people pinpoint. And often, things that come up, it's like, oh my God, I completely forgot that happened when I was 12. I can't believe that that's still affecting me now. So they see it and they kind of connect the dots. I'm not, I'm just the guide, but they figure it out. They have often those aha moments. There can often be a lot of tears, sometimes not, but sometimes yes. And we're releasing and we kind of reframe that. And then at the end of the session, I make them a recording using some of their own phrases and they listen to that. So that kind of instills a more positive mindset and positive thought pattern that helps them keep those, new positive habits long term.
That's interesting. So, the other thing that I love about your story, so many midlife women, entrepreneurs, we want to really understand the path we're on. And what I've learned by working with women now in this situation at this age for 10 years is that, and the pandemic showed us this too, there's no guarantee. We don't know what's going to happen in our business or let alone in any part of our life tomorrow, really. Yes. So with your business, you really were guided not just by your own curiosity, but also the needs of your clients. So as you got a little bit more niched and identified yourself as a weight loss expert, you could still see that, to really be able to help in the way that you want to help, there was a little piece missing. And then so that you let that guide your next step in your expertise development and all of that.
Yes, exactly. And, I found it took me decades to heal my whole, abandonment issues with my dad leaving and coming back so many times when I was young. So with RTT, it's, it's called rapid for a reason. It helps like in a few sessions, we can really do a lot of work quickly. So yeah, it was a big piece that was missing and so helpful now for my clients to help them.
Well, that's so great. And it's so rewarding to be able to make decisions that really help you go in the direction you want to go, but I find that without trusting yourself, you can't really lean into the next thing. So how do you think you were able to trust yourself to know that going in this direction, which was quite different than any direction you'd gone so far with naturopathic, what was your experience like to recognize it, but to trust yourself to pursue it?
I guess I was like, do I go back? Like, I don't want to go back to university and get a whole degree as a psychologist. That will take way too long. So what's like the next best thing that can help me get my clients the results they need to? And it was a friend who had mentioned that. And when I looked into it, I was like, oh, yes, this is perfect. The course was very intense. I'm a hardworking, the thyroid type that I am. We know we're very hardworking. So I'm like, I'm doing this. And, it would take at least between 6 months and a year to do all the modules and do the examination. Everything was done online, all the practice. And so I just jumped in and started practicing and doing all the courses.
That's really interesting. I'm fascinated by how people make decisions and the importance of you being able to trust yourself. I think as entrepreneurs, we get better and better at that. I've certainly, in my own experience, I've gotten way better at that. And yeah, that part of your story just stood out to me as different. And I knew that you needed some kind of trust in yourself to be motivated to pursue something that was like a related tangent that you knew your gut was going to really, really, really help your clients. That's cool. Okay. So, as you know, I'm fascinated also by midlife challenges and how they can get in the way of you running your business the way you want to. And one thing that you noted in your notes was taking care of yourself when things get busy. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because as midlife women, being entrepreneurs, self-care is often a huge problem. It's something we want everybody else to do, to do really well. So how's that showing up for you?
Yes. I mean, of course, we're not perfect in any way, even though some of my clients like, how many deviations do you have per week? Like, do you have cravings? I'm like, oh yes, I still have cravings. One of my challenges, someone once told me, you have a very overly active mind. And I do. And that can turn on full blast at 3 a.m. I'll wake up and like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. And all of my plans for my business and where I want it to go. So, I can be wide awake at 3 a.m. for hours, and then I'm not going to get up early. I'm just going to go back to sleep and allow myself to sleep as long as I need to, as long as I don't have a very early client. But, generally I'm up by 8 or so. But yeah, that my sleep cycles can be on and off. But I know it's very stress related. And I don't blame it on menopause, because some people say, oh, it's normal. You have your menopause or postmenopause. So all these things will be happening. Like, no, because I, will go on vacation and I will sleep like a baby every single night, or over, Christmas holidays, I will sleep perfectly. And then, other times during the year when the stress level goes up, or I'm doing a launch, or like my sleep patterns will be completely out of whack. So I allow myself the time to sleep in. I do love to exercise. That's something I've loved since from a young age. So I do a lot of sports. And, no matter what age you are, I always say you can start new things. My boyfriend and I bought kayaks 2 years ago. So we've been doing a lot of kayaks and kayak camping. So I take care of myself in that way, and in loving to be outdoors and doing a lot of sports, and giving myself grace when the insomnia and the overly active mind kicks into high gear.
So do you anticipate it? Like, let's say you are going through a launch or something really busy at work.
Yeah.
Is it part of your like assessment or planning that your sleep may be affected?
Do I anticipate it? Somewhat, I guess. There is a supplement that's natural that I sometimes take when I know, okay, very stressful times ahead. So that can help me have a bit more of a sound sleep. It has, melatonin and other things in it. So I guess yes and no. I don't always, sometimes it just pops out of here and there randomly.
It's so interesting because it's certainly something so many of us could do with more intention. And I was looking at my calendar recently because I'd been feeling like things were a little too hectic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at my calendar and I could see the problems. And I thought, well, I could make a change. And then I had a little resistance. And I thought, well, wait, why wouldn't I make a change? I had 2 mornings that started at 9. I'm like, do I really want that? No, I don't want that. Well, how did that happen? Why am I having 2 mornings, Wednesdays and Thursdays, that start at 9? And there were some reasons that it crept in, but now I'm looking at it. It's not helping. I don't enjoy it. And it means that I don't have the wiggle room when there is a sleep issue, either intentional or unintentional.
Right.
Intentional would be when I hear my alarm, my watch makes a little noise when it's time to start getting ready for bed. I have some app it gives me a little lullaby sound, and sometimes I ignore it on purpose, so I know that could create a problem.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like what you said, where you wake up or somebody else wakes up, or my dog wakes me up or something like that. But anyway, the 9 o'clock start doesn't give me the wiggle room. A 10 o'clock start would absolutely give me the wiggle room. So, it's so interesting to me that this is something that happens, and you can kind of count on it to happen on occasion. Is probably an area that you could plan for a little better. And this is just on the heels of me noticing this about myself. So what do you think? Could you be a little kinder to yourself with planning too?
Yes, I think so. It's for sure. If I'm going through launch time, I mean, next time I do a launch, it's going to look a lot different than the recent one I did, which was too many last minute things and not things set up way more in advance. And so that will hopefully look different, because my stress level kind of goes up, and my boyfriend's kind of staying further and further away from me as I get a little testy.
Oh my God, I've made that same mistake. Just like I'm in the middle of chaos, and I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a good thing you know so much about your thyroid.
My type, yes.
For sure. So the other thing I like to ask is what you've noticed about being an older woman as an entrepreneur. So have you noticed that anything is different or surprising as you're showing up as an amazing 62-year-old woman in this space of helping women lose weight?
Yes. I'd like to think that I'm kind of an inspiration for others when they see me. I had one woman I hadn't seen for quite a long time, and probably since before COVID. And she told me, "Oh, I'd like to see your Facebook posts. You look happy with all your outdoor things and skiing." And I recently was a beautiful warm spring day, and so I was totally a social media stunt, but I skied in my bikini.
Sue-Anne, I was going to ask you about that because I saw that post.
Okay.
And I just thought, oh my God, she's a badass. I can't believe she's doing that.
Yes.
It's a very memorable post. Very impressive.
Yeah. I didn't ski all day in my bikini, but it was warm. People were like, "Oh, you must have been cold." No, it was very warm with the sun and very little wind, but we skied down, had the bathing suit underneath, took off the clothes, did a run, and took some videos and pictures, and it got a lot of sensation. But I love doing fun things like that and showing you can do anything at any age. You're never too old. So I like to hope that I inspire others by doing the things that I'm doing. And then there's the part of me that might be a little bit not wanting to say what my age is, or, will people follow me if they know how old I am? And, so there's that aspect of it that I try and let go of as well. And just think that I look pretty healthy and good for my age. So it's all good.
Do you think that, are you surprised that thought still pops in, that you're a little bit more self-conscious about your age?
I think we're always our own worst critic. So there's always that little, I coach my clients, you probably do too, on that, overcoming the negative self-talk and replacing it with positive self-praise. So I guess I'm kind of surprised that it's still there, but I guess, there's still a little bit of self-talk that comes up. Yeah.
I'm surprised by it too, because I found a stinky thought recently, and I thought to myself, what? Am I still thinking where did that come from? Because 99.9% of the time, there's no thought like that anywhere that I can detect.
Yes.
But it was a thought about what's one of my friends was doing, who was over 70, just like in her early 70s. She was doing something fantastic. And I thought, oh my God, that's fantastic. But I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Are you too old to do that? Or, you know what I mean? Like I noticed that kind of thinking. I thought, where did that come from? Yes. But I did notice it. So yeah, it is surprising. We think that we have managed our mind and we're thinking the best thoughts for us. And every once in a while, something pops in. But I think the beauty is recognizing it, because you are 62. Look, you're rocking your business. You're skiing in a bikini, for God's sake. You're helping women do something that's been bothering them for years. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what would you say you're focusing on now in your business and in your life? What's your main focus?
I only met my now boyfriend when I was 58. So we've been together 4 years. And as I was talking, it took decades to heal. And, I was dating the wrong man over and over again. So I was thrilled to meet the man of my dreams. And so that's a big focus. We're so happy together. It's such a good match. I'm thrilled. I love, doing sports with him and skiing and kayaking and all the things. So just so happy in our little happy bubble. As I said, COVID, but everyone was like, "Oh, this is so hard." And I'm like, I'm in my happy bubble living with my new boyfriend. So that's a big focus there. And for my business, I've recently started a membership. So I'm very excited about building that up. And it really fulfills a need for some clients who might, want a longer term to work with me, and or new clients as well. So yeah, that's my main new focus for my business.
Amazing. So what is the best way to get a hold of you?
You can find me through Bodytypology is the name that my girlfriend and I came up with. We were trying to brainstorm names about the body type. She's like, Bodytypology. I'm like, that's it. And the .com wasn't taken, so I grabbed it. So Bodytypology is my website, or on Instagram, Facebook, Facebook group, Facebook, YouTube. It's all Bodytypology. So that's the easiest way to find me.
That's amazing it wasn't taken. Good for you.
Yes.
Wasn't that surprising?
Yes, I was very excited.
It's kind of like you almost feel like you're doing something wrong. Oh my God, can I really grab that? Oh my God.
Yes.
That's so great. Well, Sue-Anne, thank you so much for coming on the show today and explaining what you do and what it's like to be an amazing midlife woman doing those things and helping women the way you do and what your path was forward. It is inspirational, and it's something I haven't heard much about, the work that you do. So that's great. So thanks so much for coming on and sharing all of this.
Thanks so much, Suzy. It's been a pleasure to be on your show.
Amazing. Well, that is it for now. If you're listening and loving what you hear, please like and subscribe. Reviews are great too and much appreciated. And if you're a woman in the middle who's 50 or over and an entrepreneur and would like to also come on the show, please go to www.midlifeinterviews.com and fill out an application. We'd love to have you on to share your story. Thanks so much for listening. It's never too late for you to put yourself on your agenda. I'm Suzy Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you again soon. Now, real quick before we say goodbye, if you are connecting with this show, I'd love to invite you to a happiness breakthrough coaching session. It's my laser-focused coaching call that will help you get clear about what's getting in your way as a woman in the middle entrepreneur and confident about your next steps to more happiness in your next chapter. Head over to www.nextchapterbreakthrough.com. Talk to you soon.